What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubt that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubt. And I have my doubt that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
I'll hit the right buttons maybe if I wanna. Fun. So I just real quick finished up filling up my e-cig before the intro ended. I'm sure you needed to know that. More craziness in the news today. At least we haven't started Civil War yet. There is tomorrow, though. So, just absolute insanity across the board. You know, another typical day under the Biden regime. Crazy. I don't have a whole bunch for you. I was off and on playing video games again today because I'm such a gamer now. I defeated another level, another mission, and it took me several attempts to do that. Howdy, Jason Pearl. They have this feature in the game where you can do a quick save. So let's say you successfully complete one objective. You can do a quick save so that if you die, you can start back out at that spot you did the quick save. So, I had a hell of a battle. I had to destroy a total of 8 buildings, 2 different locations, 4 buildings each. And I had hell destroying the first 4 buildings so I could go for the other base. And man... So, I finally got the first 4 buildings defeated, dead, and moved along, did a quick save. Took me a few tries getting the second set of 4 buildings destroyed. And so once, it's a good thing, once I had those destroyed, I'm like, I better quick save it. Because all I had to do was get back to the base. Therein lies the problem. They had SAM missile sites everywhere. They had aircraft everywhere. Here I am in the canyons, as low as I can get with my radar off. And there was something that shot me out of the air about 4 times, and I never have figured out what the hell that was. I didn't even hear nothing. There's no warning tones, no nothing, just a big ass explosion from behind me. Everything goes dead in the cockpit, and I'm just falling like a leaf through the sky. It's pretty crazy. So, it's fun. But after several attempts, I did finally make it back to the base. And I was like literally on fumes. I was trying to gain a little altitude in case I had to glide it in. I got it down on the runway, and it ran out of fuel. I didn't even have enough fuel in it to get back to the things. However, it counted that as a win. So I'm on to the next mission. I'll start that tomorrow. So, lot of craziness. Fun game though. VTOL VR. It is a blast. Pun intended. I like it because it teaches you to really think about your weapons and use them effectively and take the right ones with you. Next one's going to be air-to-air and also some radar sites and stuff. So that's not going to be near as a problem as this last one was. This last one was a doozy. It was nighttime. The 8 buildings, you had to set up GPS coordinates before you even left. And then when it turns out that those aren't so accurate, try to stay alive and take out the rest. Good luck. Anyway, let's get on with some news, get it out of the way, and get the heck out of here and maybe get to bed a little early again tonight. Be nice. I'm just tired. It's a good thing. That's why I cut out the evening time coffee. So, all right, bring you on over. Millions of Brits can't afford heat and electricity, says research. It says more than 1.4 million people in the UK have been disconnected from the energy grid since November as consumers struggle to pay their bills this winter, according to new research by state-funded Citizens Advice. Published on Tuesday, the study shows that over 3 million people have been cut off from the energy in the last year because they could not afford to top up their prepayment meter. The average energy debt had increased to £1,835 or $2,332 by the end of 2023, up from £1,579 a year earlier. As the total energy debt pile, currently at £2.9 billion, continues to rise, it is weighing down millions of consumers and risks becoming unsustainable for the sector, the researchers warned. Data shows that over 5 million people live in homes with an energy debt and are at greater risk as a result of actions to reduce cost, including turning off the heating or skipping meals. The rest of winter looks set to be even worse, with prices rising 5% this month and colder weather seeing typical household energy usage reach its highest point, Citizens Advice wrote. We estimate that over 2 million people will disconnect because they can't afford to top up by the end of winter. The report comes as the energy price cap in Britain has risen this month, with the situation predicted to ease somewhat from April. Bills will still be 40% higher than they were in 2021, Citizens Advice wrote. We risk an annual winter crisis unless action is taken to help those struggling the most, the report warned. Now, this is something I had been warning. I was warning you last winter that this winter the prices were going to do the same. I didn't know if it was going to happen here in the United States, but I was pretty positive it was going to happen over in the EU and the UK for obvious reasons. So I do expect to see our costs go up. So hopefully not as bad as what's going off across the pond. That's insanity. However, this is going to jack up some things. Shipping giant abandons Red Sea route amid Houthi crisis. This was the big one. The U.S. branch of Danish shipping giant Maersk, has said it will follow its parent company and stop sending merchant vessels through the Suez Canal and Red Sea due to attacks by the Yemen-based Houthis. The Houthis, a Shia Islamist group that controls a large part of Yemen, including the capital, Sana'a, have been striking and hijacking ships crossing the vital waterway in solidarity with Palestinians amid the Israeli-Hamas war. The militants recently said they would expand their attacks after the U.S. and U.K. began bombing Houthi-linked targets in Yemen earlier this year. Two vessels operated by Maersk Line MLL, the Maersk Detroit and Maersk Chesapeake, as well as their U.S. Navy escort, came under attack from Houthi cruise missiles in the Bab el-Mandeb Strait on Wednesday, the company said. CENTCOM announced later in the day that no ships have been damaged, while Houthi spokesman Yahya Saree claimed that several missiles hit their target and forced ships to turn back. The U.S. Navy has turned both ships around and is escorting them back to the Gulf of Aden, a Maersk statement said, adding that following the escalation of risk, MLL is suspending transits in the region until further notice. MLL operates U.S.-flagged and U.S.-crewed ships. The branch continued to use the Suez route until Wednesday, while its parent company suspended travel on the waterway on January 5th. Traffic via the Suez Canal, the fastest route from Asia to Europe, makes up around 15% of the world's commercial shipping, according to the White House. In order to avoid the risk of Houthi missile attacks, some of the biggest freight companies in the world have been forced to reroute their vessels around the coast of Africa, facing increased cost and skyrocketing insurance premium. Then it goes then to more history of what's happened, so stuff we already know. Oh, man. Iran a legitimate threat, says Israel. A legitimate target, sorry. Ow. Making up my own headlines there. My neck's killing me. Iran is now a legitimate target for Israeli attacks, Economy Minister Nir Barkat has told The Telegraph, raising fears of an armed conflict with Tehran. He also claimed that the war in Gaza is not being fought with enough aggression by the Israel Defense Forces. Iran is a legitimate target for Israel, said Barkat. They will not get away with it. The head of the snake is Tehran. My recommendation is to adopt the strategy that President Kennedy used in the Cuban Missile Crisis. What he basically said then was, a missile from Cuba will be answered with a missile to Moscow, the minister added, referring to the 1962 standoff between the U.S. and the USSR. Barkat's rhetoric echoed a recent statement by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who blamed Iran for standing behind the militant groups in Gaza. He claimed that Israel was already carrying out direct attacks on Iran. Iran is the head of the octopus, and you see its tentacles all around, from the Houthis to Hezbollah to Hamas, said the Prime Minister. Israel claims that Iran was involved in plotting the October 7 attacks, and then goes into the history of that. Not going to go all into the history of that. Alright, 4 more articles open. Turkey unlikely to let U.S. warships enter Black Sea, says Lavrov. U.S. will not be able to persuade Turkey to allow access for its warships to the Black Sea amid the Ukraine conflict, Russian Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov has said. Speaking at a press conference in New York on Wednesday, where he was attending a UN meeting on Ukraine and the Middle East, Lavrov was asked on whether Turkey could abrogate the Montreux Convention regulating maritime traffic via the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles Straits connecting the Aegean and Black Seas. The question came after Pentagon official Celeste Wallander said on Tuesday that Washington wanted to work with Black Sea powers, including Turkey, to move away from the state of conflict, which allowed Ankara to block warships from passing to the Turkish Straits. Earlier this month, Turkish officials cited the treaty when denying passage to the Black Sea to minesweepers donated to Ukraine by the UK. Commenting on Wallander's statement, Lavrov suggested that the U.S. was trying to convince Ankara to soften the maritime regime in the Straits, particularly regarding foreign military vessels entering the Black Sea. If this is the case, our Turkish colleagues have told us that they, as the guardians of the legacy of the Montreux Convention, will strictly abide by its provisions, Lavrov said. He suggested that the U.S. has stepped up diplomatic efforts on this front after Pentagon Chief Lloyd Austin was released from the hospital last week following 2 weeks of treatment for prostate cancer. That goes into the history of the Montreux Convention and all that good noise. We're going to have a drink tea. Man. NATO, a walking war machine, says China. NATO is a walking war machine that has been spreading chaos across Asia since its formation, Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Qin told reporters on Thursday, accusing the bloc of using the specter of a dominant Beijing to foment regional conflict. Wu appeared to be referencing comments by the NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg during the World Economic Forum last week, in which the bloc's leader attempted to frame its build-out in Asia as a response to purported Chinese aggression. It should be said that NATO is a walking war machine, and wherever it appears, it brings disorder everywhere, Wu said, referencing inappropriate statements by the NATO Secretary General regarding China. This is not about NATO moving into Asia, but instead about the fact that China is coming close to us, Stoltenberg told attendees at the exclusive Davos gathering, insisting that the U.S.-led alliance remains regional in its focus. Wu cautioned NATO against deliberate provocations, urging the bloc to treat China and its military development objectively and rationally and do something beneficial to world peace, according to Xinhua. Despite its moniker seemingly limiting its sphere of influence to the North Atlantic Ocean, NATO has openly courted Asian allies in an effort to counter China's growing power. Its members already include countries thousands of kilometers from the Atlantic, such as Turkey and Bulgaria, although Article 6 of its charter specifies that the Mutual Defense Agreement, at its core, only applies to territories in Europe and North America, plus islands north of the Tropic of Cancer. In August, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan explicitly denied Washington was seeking to create a NATO for the Pacific with the establishment of trilateral defense partnership with Japan and South Korea, even as President Joe Biden heralded a new era of collaboration with Washington's regional allies. Last July, NATO indefinitely postponed the controversial planned opening of a liaison office in Tokyo. And the rest is more history and all that. It was recap day on the news today. Two more articles. Plane with Ukrainian POWs was struck by missiles, says officials. Pretty sure we knew that. Russian investigators have found what appear to be fragments of one or more missiles among the debris of the downed, is that 276? I have no idea. In Belgorod region, TASS reported on Thursday, citing a source in the emergency services. The military plane was transporting Ukrainian prisoners of war to a scheduled exchange when it crashed on Wednesday morning. The Russian Defense Ministry said that two surface-to-air missiles were fired from Ukrainian territory and apparently struck the 276, leaving no survivors. The flight manifest showed 6 crew members, 3 Russian officials, and 65 Ukrainian POWs were on board. Elements were found on the ground confirming an external impact on the aircraft, the agency source said on Thursday. They will be sent for examination. Civilian, military, and criminal investigators are currently combing the crash site for clues and collecting the evidence for analysis. Initial reports in Ukrainian media spoke of a successful downing of a Russian military plane transporting missiles. Those reports were quickly deleted when Moscow revealed the flight had carried prisoners instead. Kiev officials have since said they were never notified about the prisoner flight, that planes over Belgorod are a legitimate military target, and that Russia is ultimately responsible for anything that happens to the POWs anyway. Anyway. A French military source has told state broadcaster France Info that the missiles that brought down the 276 were U.S.-made Patriots operated by the Ukrainian army. One of the Russian investigators on site also said the pattern of destruction and damage to the fuselage pointed to the Patriot, according to Russian reporter Alexander Kotz. The Kremlin has condemned the incident as a monstrous act by the Ukrainian government against its own citizens. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has called for an international investigation to determine the hard facts about what happened, insisting that the plane went down in Russian territory. France, which chairs the UN Security Council, refused Russia's request to hold an emergency session about the incident, scheduling a meeting for Thursday afternoon instead. So yeah, it's getting a little stupid. Little stupid. Alright. One momento. Yay. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Fun times. My nose is being a pain in the butt. Alright, Civil War 2.0. What's behind the latest escalation between Washington and Texas? So, I could go through all of this, but you already know it. You know what's going on. I'm not going to jump on any train yet. Especially, we need to watch the next couple of days. I think those are going to be pretty paramount in the direction that this is going to go. Right now, for anybody to be able to call it, it's not possible. Not possible. And again, there's always the possibility. I'm just saying, there's always the possibility they could just be putting on a show. Be mindful of that. They get real bipartisan good when they do that stuff. So anyway, we'll make it an easy night. I'll run through the headlines, get the heck out of here, and get to bed so tomorrow I can get up and save the world some more. Well, okay, the game. I really do enjoy it. It's fun. I'm just playing the single-player missions right now. I figure if I can win all of the single-player missions, then I'm ready to go multiplayer. Whether it's multiplayer co-op, working together to complete tasks, or whether it's head-to-head combat, I'll be as ready as I'm gonna be. And I'm learning. I'm getting much, much better. Okay. U.S. to negotiate future of troops in Iraq, says media. Russian dairy exports soar. No business as usual for Boeing, says U.S. air regulator. British PM quizzed over shocking Gaza video. NATO trying to intimidate Russia, says Moscow's top spy. Saudi Arabia opens first liquor store, says media. I don't think that's a good thing. German Chancellor rejects claims he is set to resign. Belgorod plane attack a monstrous act, says the Kremlin. Ukraine is open to Russian gas transit, says Slovakia. Let's see. Electric cars will not dominate global markets, says Toyota boss. German Chancellor blames economic woes on Ukraine conflict. Russia backs Pope's peace efforts. U.S. Supreme Court approves first nitrogen execution. Putin's trip to westernmost region isn't about NATO, says the Kremlin. Railway strike threatens German economy, says Deutsche Bahn. Ukrainian model wins Miss Japan pageant. Counting on U.S. protection is the wrong bet, says Lavrov. Court issues longest prison sentence for woman in Russian history. Russia reveals progress on new gas pipeline project to China. World's most valuable company announces job cuts. That's like Microsoft. Switzerland no longer neutral, says Moscow. Fire erupts at Tehran Medical Center. Ukraine shot down prisoner flight with American missiles, says French media. NATO sowing chaos. Oh, actually, that was a headline that actually the headline of it changed. I did cover that. Ex-Donbass commander handed 4-year prison term. Let's see. Ukraine demands cancellation of White Lotus actor, because that's so important. West is tired of Ukraine, says top Russian spy. Let's see. Kiev deliberately sabotaged prisoner swap, says Moscow. Ukraine richest man to lose assets in Russia. And lastly, nearly a third of Gen Z Americans are LGBTQXY, sometimes are. No, always are. Always are. It should be LGBTQ, always are. Always are. Are. I'm out of here. I hope you all have a good night. And, be the best pirate you can be. Hardy R. I'm out of here. Have a good weekend. God willing, we'll see you on Sunday. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.